Today, we will quickly acquire interesting information about Cleopatra in 8 different topics without taking much of your time. Cleopatra's true origins. A Greek princess. Cleopatra was not Egyptian. Originally Greek, Cleopatra descended from Soter, a Greek general and companion of Alexander the Great. After Alexander's death, Soter became the ruler of Egypt and established a Greek-speaking dynasty. This dynasty is known as the Ptolemaic dynasty and ruled over Egypt for approximately 3 centuries. Cleopatra was the last member of this dynasty and the first Ptolemaic queen to learn the Egyptian language. She presented herself as the new Isis and respected the ancient traditions of Egypt. Cleopatra's family tree. An incestuous dynasty. Cleopatra was a product of incestuous relationships. The Ptolemaic dynasty often practiced intra-family marriages to preserve the purity of their bloodline. It is highly likely that Cleopatra's parents were also siblings. In accordance with this tradition, Cleopatra eventually married her adolescent brothers, each of whom served as ceremonial spouses and co-rulers at different times during her reign. The names of these brothers were Ptolemy XIII and Ptolemy XIV. Cleopatra's appearance. Intelligence over beauty. Cleopatra's beauty was not her greatest asset. Roman propaganda depicted Cleopatra as a lascivious seductress who used her sexual allure as a political weapon, but she was known more for her intelligence than her looks. She spoke a dozen languages and received education in mathematics, philosophy, rhetoric, and astronomy. Egyptian sources later described her as a ruler who elevated the ranks of scholars and enjoyed their companionship. There is also evidence suggesting that Cleopatra was not physically stunning. Her portraits on coins depict masculine facial features and a prominent hooked nose. However, some historians argue that she deliberately portrayed herself in a masculine manner as a display of power. The ancient writer Plutarch, in his opinion, claimed that Cleopatra's beauty was by no means incomparable and instead attributed her appeal to her soft voice and irresistible charm. Cleopatra's sibling slaughter. The battle for the throne. Cleopatra had a hand in the deaths of 3 of her siblings. The pursuit of power and plotting assassinations were common in the Ptolemaic tradition, and Cleopatra was no different from her brothers. After defeating her brother Ptolemy XIII in battle, whom she didn't want to share the throne with, Cleopatra had him drowned in the Nile River. She then had her younger brother Ptolemy XIV killed in order to make her son her co-ruler. Additionally, she planned the execution of her sister Arsinoe, whom she saw as a rival to the throne. Cleopatra's theatrical entrances. Like a goddess, Cleopatra knew how to make an entrance. Seeing herself as a living goddess, Cleopatra often employed clever stage plays to impress potential allies and solidify her divine status. The most famous example is her arrival at her first meeting with Julius Caesar, where she had herself wrapped in a carpet and brought into the palace. This bold move captured Caesar's attention, and they formed a relationship. Cleopatra's love affairs. Rome's most powerful men. Cleopatra had a relationship with Julius Caesar and bore him a son. Her son's name was Ptolemy XV Caesar, also known as Caesarion. Caesarion was Cleopatra's only biological child and became the last pharaoh of Egypt after his mother's death. It is uncertain whether Caesar was truly his father, but both Cleopatra and Caesar claimed so. With Caesar's support, Cleopatra regained power and ended her marriage with her brother. Her relationship with Caesar also granted her influence in Rome, but the situation changed with Caesar's assassination in 44 BC. Cleopatra also had a relationship with Mark Antony and bore him 3 children. Their children's names were Alexander Helios, Cleopatra Seleni, and Ptolemy Philadelphus. All of her children were taken captive by Rome and raised under the protection of Augustus' sister, Octavia. Cleopatra and Mark Antony met in 41 BC, when Antony summoned her to Tarsus to question her loyalty to Rome. He wanted to determine the state of Egypt following Caesar's assassination. Cleopatra arrived in a magnificent barge dressed as the goddess Aphrodite, captivating Antony with her intelligence and beauty. They quickly became lovers and allies. forming a military alliance to fight against Octavian, later known as Augustus. Cleopatra's parties, captivating Mark Antony. Cleopatra wooed, enchanted, and entertained Mark Antony with lavish parties, gifts, and games. She supported his military campaigns and provided him with financial assistance. She even accompanied him to the Battle of Actium in 31 BC, where they engaged in a decisive naval conflict against Octavian's fleet. However, they were defeated, and they fled to Egypt. Octavian pursued them, and in 30 BC, he besieged Alexandria. Cleopatra's suicide, a snake bite. Cleopatra ended her life by poisoning herself. Upon hearing the false rumor of Mark Antony's death by suicide, she locked herself in her mausoleum and sent a message to Octavian expressing her desire to be buried alongside Antony. She then allowed herself to be bitten by an asp or Egyptian cobra, a venomous snake. The venom of this snake was potent and quickly caused her death. When Octavian discovered Cleopatra's body, he was reportedly saddened and expressed his intention to give her a grand funeral in Rome, but Cleopatra had declined this offer. In this video, I shared interesting events and facts about Cleopatra. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video. Goodbye.